Hello. You know, you've heard the word civil rights icon, civil rights leader, civil rights pioneer. Well, those words describe my guest today. Percy Green is my guest on The Bernie Hayes Show. And welcome back. My guest is Percy Green. Percy, welcome back to the show. It's been a long time since you've been here.
Well, it has been. I'm back.
Over a year almost. Yeah.
I'm back.
You know, since the time we had you on the program, you received so many awards. Harris Stowe State University did a wonderful tribute to you. Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah, I was really amazed, and I was very, very, very honored to be considered as the first honoree for the award that I was granted, you know.
It was a monstrous award, man, and the community came out.
Well, the turnout was bodacious.
Yeah, they should have had a much larger venue than what it was, because people were standing up around the wall, and some people couldn't even get in the auditorium where they were honoring you. Yeah, but since that, even you've received so many other honors and awards, and over the years for what you've done, your civil rights activities and your protests and your direct action, your direct actions, you've received so many. But this past year, I noticed that how they've been honoring you.
The interesting thing about awards, they usually come when you're no longer active.
Yeah,
I mean, at the time that I was really engaged. Of course, I'm still engaged, but when I had when action was active and we were doing much of the direct action protest, I mean, it would have been very, very nice for us to for action to have received the awards at
been
that
recognized
particular time.
as what you were doing.
That would have given a lot more potency to what we were doing, you know.
For those
but
who don't
I guess
know,
like in anything else, in hindsight, it's always 20/20. Many people now can see the value of direct action protests back in the day, because many of them were beneficiaries of our activities.
As of today, even. They're still benefiting from what you did. Tell us what Action was. Tell us, for those who don't know.
Well, Action was a civil human rights protest organization, and we were 100% volunteer, interracial organization.
Right.
And did I say volunteer? Volunteer organization. You know? So, and we sought out large businesses to carry on our direct action protest, because we felt as if that the nature of our protest was such that it would put small businesses out of business. Yeah. So that's why we saw fit to take on the large businesses, such as the telephone companies, the gas companies,
Wonder Bread.
The large companies.
The conglomerates.
So we could, and then of course, I mean, for the effort, we would get the largest bang for the effort in terms of employment. But unfortunately, we didn't get the numbers that we wanted, but we did make an impact.
Certainly, See, you're noted for climbing the arch, Gateway Arch. You're noted for protest against the veiled prophet. You're noted for protesting any injustice that you've seen. And you didn't talk about it. You actually took action. What was your motivation for climbing the arch?
Well, the whole notion of climbing the arch was pivoted off of the Jefferson Bank, and of course, after the Jefferson Bank, the 4 jobs that were demanded from Jefferson Bank was granted. So it was a matter of searching for another project to do the research on, to determine whether or not fair employment was being utilized. And it just happened that it was brought to our attention the group that I was with, it was core, but then we flipped and become action.
Right.
But we saw the arch being, it was above ground. And come to find out, we realized that it was a federally funded program. And we did some negotiation and determined that the general contractor was not sincere in hiring blacks in terms of, in the construction job, in all job classification. So we had to give him a little encouragement, and part of the encouragement was dramatizing the event, and climbing the arch was part of the demonstration.
Bring attention to that.
Yeah.
You entered Daly, right?
Yes, Daly, Richard Daly and I. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the Jefferson Bank protest. What was that about?
Well, it was similar. I mean, prior to the arch, the Jefferson Bank had a history of being a black bank, but it was white owned. Mm-hmm. And they were in the community over 20 some odd years, mm-hmm. And yet they didn't have, they had some black employees when they were in the black community. They were located there on Jefferson and Franklin. Mm-hmm. That's where they originated.
King Martin Luther King.
And, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, in recent years, they relocated 3 blocks over to Jefferson and Washington, and became an all-white bank. With the few blacks that they had working for them when they were in there on Jefferson and Franklin disappeared, and so CORE at the time wanted to know what happened, and then of course after the management decided that they were not interested in hiring blacks, CORE made a demand that they hire 4 black tellers, mm-hmm. and that's what started the direct action protest against them. Of course, the bank, used the white power structure to have the court, to have the judiciary system to issue an injunction, and then of course 19 blacks and whites were arrested and confined to jail for mm-hmm. a period of time. But nonetheless, those of us that later became action did not let what the white power structure did then, abuse the authority, mm-hmm. abuse the whole entire legal system to frighten us off from civil disobedience and direct action protest. Yeah. So that it frightened some of the protesters off, but the core that made up action afterwards pursued direct action protests and took on the Southwestern Bell, the Cleve Gas, Union Electric, the large companies made demands, as well as the construction industry for jobs. Now, the emphasis then were more and better paying jobs for black males. Right. Because, and the strategy, we wanted to counter the strategy that the white power structure utilized, and that is whenever there was a call for employment, the first thing they did was to hire a black female. Right. And of course, they figured that would be satisfactory and whatnot, Yeah. Then, but we put the emphasis, although we wanted, black females to have jobs as well, but it was almost like there was a special efforts to destroy the fabric of the black community by eliminating emphasis placed on the black man, the black male, the importance of the black male in the whole entire family structure, the family unit. And so consequently, that's why we highlighted that. And of course, the power structure, they had a problem wrestling, accepting that, but with the consistency of our demonstrations and effort, they then began to hire, a few black men into the better paying jobs.
So now that people are still benefiting from that. Our guest is Percy Green, activist and social activist, human rights activist. I want to keep emphasize that because everything he did was for human rights. And Percy was very instrumental in protesting the closing of New Life Evangelistic Center, the 1411 Locust Street address, because we're now in Overland, 2428 Woodson Road. And Percy, I want to give you this gift. Reverend Larry Rice wanted you to have this because of the fact of your efforts to keep New Life open.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very good.
And we also have this mug that, well, you already have a mug, but other folks who do not have a mug, if you want to get a mug and a book, here's Reverend Larry Rice to tell you how to do so.
For many years, Bernie Hayes has been on the front lines leading the charge for social justice. It's been a great privilege of mine to get to know Bernie personally, and I want us, in celebration of all that Bernie has done, to share with you one of these very special Bernie Hayes mugs and a copy of a book, Through the Fires, which tells you about the battle for social justice at 1411 Locust, where gentrifiers came into the neighborhood and literally shut down the church at the New Life Evangelistic Center at 1411 Locust Street because they didn't want those kind of people in the neighborhood. Direct bigotry. Now, if you'll request this mug and share a gift of $25 or more, we'll send you this book, 328 pages that go into great detail on all the manipulating behind the scenes and on the scenes that took place in order for the city of St. Louis to consider it a nuisance because there were hurting and homeless people in the neighborhood. We would love to see a beloved community, that when development takes place in a community, instead of the poor and the elderly and the homeless being pushed out, it's a beloved community that welcomes people from all over, regardless of their racial background or who they might be. They're people made in the image of God. Bernie Hayes has fought for that for years. And now we're teaming up with Bernie in a very special and powerful way. If you'll just call in our 421-302, or you can send your special gift and just say, please send me the Bernie Hayes mug. We will include in that Through the Fire, historical book that I've written on how the St. Louis gentrifiers tried to destroy a church because of its homeless congregations. You know, there's a common saying that if your neighbor's house on fire, yours in danger also. The bigotry, the hypocrisy in the city of St. Louis affects all of us. I thank God for Bernie, who has continued to point it out and root it out. Now we're teaming up with Bernie. When you request the Bernie Hayes mug and share a gift of $25 or more to New Life Evangelistic Center, I'll include my book, Through the Fire. We'd love to hear from you. Share now. P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri.
And welcome back. My guest is Percy Green II. And also there's a Percy Green III, is there not?
Yes, it is. Yes, yeah. I'm very, very proud of my son. He's been doing a good job.
Yes, he's a wonderful, wonderful guy. And your granddaughter.
And
she's almost grown, hasn't she?
Yeah, right. She's a big-time teenager.
Yeah, my goodness.
17 going on 35.
Percy, you took action against the Veiled Prophet, and you thought they were a racist organization. Tell us briefly about that.
Well, yeah, it was a racist organization because the very people that we were fighting in terms of jobs, I mean, the heads of these companies, you heard me mention Southwestern Bell, the Cleve Gas, Union Electric. Of course, now they have changed their name. Yeah. But all the heads of those organizations and all of your other large agencies, they were members of this all-white organization, racist organization. All of your chief executive officers were members of this group, you know. And so our point was not to become part of that, you know, because had we demand to be part of that, it would have been equivalent to us making a demand to be members of the Ku Klux Klan.
Right.
That was not our aim. Our aim was to show that upon us protesting at Southwestern Bell, the Cleve Gas, and so on and so forth, at the time for jobs, we were pointing out that one of the main reasons why these folks were so reluctant in integrating was because they were part of a clannish, a Ku Klux Klanish type organization, known as the here in this area as the Veiled Prophet.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't put the white Veiled Prophet, but we put that on there to make sure that folks would understand that they're not as innocent as they tried to claim.
They were elite and
They
exclusive.
were the elite.
Yeah, sure.
They were the, and so we were pointing out, that was our point, was to saying, look, we need to remove the character of this particular group. Now, if they wanted to practice their racism, take it out there in Clayton and Ladue, where they live. Mm-hmm. You know, we certainly felt as if they had the right to free speech, but with the city of St. Louis and having a population of blacks and others, it was inappropriate for them to carry on that type of exercise. And then on top of it, this was a way of us punishing Union Electric, Laclede Gas, and so forth, showing them up here, being part of this racist organization. Yeah. And then this is how we got into the gender protest.
Yeah, discrimination.
We felt as if they were auctioning off their daughters among that same
elitist group,
white male elitist group.
Yeah. You know, Bob Demler, producer and director, mentioned that attention was brought to your group to action because of the fact that you kept getting arrested. You never shied away from that. You knew sometime that you were going to get arrested, but nevertheless you protest. You even protested for me several times at several different radio stations, and you were arrested.
Yeah, I was arrested there.
But recently, they just don't know that other things that they noted for. You noted for the Veiled Prophet. You noted for Laclede Gas. You noted for Climbing the Arch. You noted for so many other things, Jefferson Bank. But there's so many other things that you're involved in that people don't realize. And this is why I want to get you on today. Well, people know.
Well, let me just also point out that it wasn't just myself. It was an organization.
Oh, I know. Yeah, sure.
And I mean, the chemistry of our organization, both black and whites, that was willing to engage in civil disobedience. Mm-hmm. Remember now, the unveiling of the White Veiled Prophet was done by two white members of Action.
Sure. Right.
That was the only way that could have been done.
They infiltrated them.
Exactly. I mean, it would. And then, of course, we carried on a very classy demonstration out at McDonnell Douglas, where we had to penetrate their security out there in order to pass out leaflets in the white room that they had out there, where that's where they were building the space capsule.
It was discriminated. Yeah. Well, let me say this too. I noticed in the past few years, past 20 years, you've been involved with school board elections, and you've been at all the school board meetings. You protested the appointed board, and now you're actually supporting some people for the elected board, but you may actually, hopefully, someday take over. I understand that next year.
So a miscarriage of justice, what based upon the way the state of Missouri have done to black school boards, here in the state of Missouri, especially in Kansas City, by removing the elected boards.
Yeah, people who are elected to the offices.
And simply because they feel as if, simply because they felt that blacks were not competent enough to make decisions. Now, if there's ever a problem that the whole entire country had in that area, is right now with Donald Trump and his bunch running the whole entire government.
His gang.
Why haven't there been any effort to remove it because of it not functioning in accordance to whatever is considered as the norm?
Sure.
But here in the city of St. Louis, because the white power structure was not capable, or they lost control of the board. They at that time it was Mayor Slade.
Yeah.
He then runs to the racist state government in order to take the power from the elected board.
Yeah, I mean, the elected officials weren't
It's
allowed
been
to.
history. But yes, we've been trying to get some good people elected. And of course, the beat goes on. We are encouraging the group that I'm working with called Action Reunion 2019.
Yeah, we're out of time. We're going to come back to that after this break.
Okay.
And we're at the New Life Evangelistic Center. And don't forget now, 1411 Locust Street is closed, but every day Reverend Rice and the administrative staff here and also workers and volunteers are trying to address the illegal closing of the New Life downtown, 1411 Locust Street downtown. But we're at 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. And we need your help and support because that fight is an ongoing fight. It's an ongoing protest. But you can invest in the New Life Evangelistic Center. You may invest in the New Life Evangelistic Center with a tax-deductible donation through Post Office Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri, 63166, or online at www.newlifeevangelisticcenter, one word, newlifeevangelisticcenter.org. Takes less than 2 minutes by Discover Card, American Express, Visa, MasterCard. But we need your help and support because we've got to get 1411 open, and we must continue the programs that were initiated down there, and they're still processing right here. We'll be back with Percy Green after this.
Think about it for a moment. Hundreds of people are spending night after night trying to survive. Some are even freezing and dying out on the streets of downtown St. Louis as this 5-story building remains closed up. It's closed up because of the bigotry of a few that don't want the homeless in the neighborhood. Now New Life Evangelistic Center is working to get back into 1411 Locust, and it's possible because of each one of you that are praying at this time and sharing your much-needed tax-deductible gift. I thank God for the Bernie Hayes Show and each one of you that are doing your part. As you share your gift of $10 or more, be sure you request a copy of Through the Fire. It goes into great detail of how the rich and powerful shut down 1411 Locust, but yet the staff of New Life Evangelistic Center are out on the streets and how we're working to get back into that particular facility. And it's your prayers and gifts that make all that possible. It's New Life Evangelistic Center, P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri. That's 63166. And as you share your gift, be sure you request your copy of Through the Fire.
We'll return to our guests after this Black History moment. Today's subject, Dorothy Height, born March 24th, 1912 in Richmond, Virginia. During a chance encounter with African-American leader Mary McLeod Bethune, Height was inspired to begin working with the National Council of Negro Women. Height focused on ending the lynching of African-Americans and reconstructing the criminal justice system. In 1957, she became the 4th president of the National Council of Negro Women, and under her leadership, they supported voter registration in the South, and they also financially aided several civil rights activists throughout the country, and she was president for more than 40 years. In 1963, Height, along with other civil rights activists, organized the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. And for all her efforts, the civil rights movement, Height was awarded and recognized in many organizations. In 1989, she received the Citizens Medal Award from President Ronald Reagan, and in 2004, Height was honored by the Congressional Gold Medal. The same year, Height was inducted into the Democracy Hall of Fame International. She also received an estimated 24 honorary degrees. On April the 10th, 2010, Height passed away at the age of 98. Dorothy Height.
NLEC TV will continue to bring you wholesome family programming, plus many community shows that you only can see on NLEC TV. It's very important you bring it up on your iPhone, the NLEC TV app, or continue to watch it on 24.2. You'll be able to continue to see the Bernie Hayes Show, Zaki Baruti. You'll be able to see Transformation Church with Pastor Burris. In addition to that, you'll be able to see our Here's Help programs and news and views and so much more new and creative stuff that's going to be brought to you on NLEC TV. If you have questions on how to get that app on your iPhone or how to tune in 24.2, call now 314-436-2424. It's NLEC TV that's going to continue to bring you the best and wholesome community, family, entertainment, and renewable energy programming. So be sure you stay right there on NLEC TV. For further information, call 436-2424.
Welcome back. My guest is Percy Green. Percy, how can one reach you? I know that you do a lot of speaking now, and some people want to still honor you for so many things. How can they reach you?
Oh, I can be reached at area code 314-533-1686.
Say that again, please.
Area code 314-533-1686.
Okay. And if you're not there, that you can leave a message. You have an answering machine.
Right.
Okay.
But I just want to point out the fact
Sure.
of that abuse of authority I was talking about. Not only was perpetrated upon us as action, but also against New Life as well.
Right,
You know,
it certainly was.
I mean, what they did to New Life, that was abuse of authority.
Right, gentrification,
Yeah.
and they closed it, and all the whole stories in that book there,
Yeah.
even your involvement in New Life. And but you've been, like I say, for the past few years, I mean, many years since this elected school board was ousted and that appointed board was injected. You've been very active at the school board meetings. So
Yeah,
now I understand
well,
that I see many people you've endorsed, and I see here the latest two, David Meredith and Lewis Cross III. Lewis was our guest recently. So tell us why you got involved in endorsing people for the school
Well,
board.
we felt as if that the community, we felt, first of all, it was an unjust move on behalf of the white power structure and some of the blacks that was part of that effort in removing the authority from the elected board.
Okay.
Nowhere else, except in the seemingly the predominantly black communities, it seemed like that was done. So we felt that fair-minded whites and blacks should coalesce in order to make to correct the situation as much as possible. And our way of doing that is trying to elect people that have good thinking qualities and being able to move the Board of Education forward as it was intended originally, and that was to, educate the average citizen in the city of St. Louis, those that did not have the wherewithal to go to private school. But all of that effort is seemingly being subverted by the so-called I can't think of the effort that
the establishment. Those people, they've all been subversive.
Charter schools.
Charter schools.
The charter school effort. Here
Okay.
they're taking valuable assets from the public school system and they're using it up in a superficial,
subsidizing
private
schools. Yeah.
establishment. And they're doomed to failure or whatnot, because.
But that money's behind that too, right?
Yeah,
a lot of money.
Yeah.
We're about out of time, Percy Green. I just want to say, man, thank you. We never have enough time. Every time I interview you, we could go on and on for 6 or 7 hours because there's so much you've done and there's so much that you continue to do. Once again, how can they reach you?
Again, area code 314-26. No, I'm sorry.
533.
That's right. Area code 314-533-1686.
533-1686. Okay, Percy Green.
533-1686. Yeah.
Former of action, still an activist, still a person who seeking freedom, still a person who's leading. Percy Green. I'm so proud to know that he's been a friend for many, many years, and we hope that you'll continue to support Percy Green as well as the New Life Evangelistic Center. I'm Bernie Hayes. We're 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri, and we still need you to bring by food and clothing and water for those in need and support Reverend Larry Rice and all the efforts here at New Life Evangelistic Center, 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. I want you to have a great day. Continue to support NLEC, Sound 24.2. We're here for you. We've always been here for you. We hope to be always here for you. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Bernie Hayes. Have a great day.